Hey crew, I've got the key to this Lucid Gravity. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check it out how it looks on the inside and outside. The Gravity is an all-new model from Lucid, their first SUV, and though it does borrow some styling traits from the Air, it's got some distinction to it. So up here at the front, it has the same LED light bar that goes across the face like the Air. That runs beneath the Lucid badging. This one has the stealth brightwork, so all the chrome pieces are in a dark tint. There are these vertical LED DRLs that also function as the turn signals. Behind those are functional slats for air to pass through. This one is painted in Aurora Green Metallic. It's a grayish green hue with that metallic flake sparkling at me in the sunlight. At the side, this one is an optional set of 22-inch front, 23-inch wheels in that same dark chrome finish. Wrapped in Pirelli P0 summer tires, 265 section front, 285 at the back. Within those wheels are optional titanium painted brake calipers with this equipped dynamic handling package. Black glosses for the door mirrors and lower portions of the window trim. Upper trim is in stealth, and then the lower sills are also in black gloss. These door handles pop out like this when the vehicle's unlocked. When it's locked, they're flush mounted. Stepping back to look at the profile, this is by far the most interesting view of the Gravity, and it really depends on the Air suspension height. So right now it's one up from the lowest access height. If you jack it all the way up to 9.3 inches of ground clearance, it really looks more like an SUV, but lowered down like this, it's got this futuristic minivan vibe to it. And here at the rear, it says Gravity spelled out. It's got a long extended roof mounted spoiler. At the back, slim LED light bar with LED turn signals. Then when I go to squat down, the width of the Gravity is emphasized most because the top and bottom panels are so truncated. It's unusual for an SUV. I mean, that's the whole story on the exterior styling. And while it may not be my preference, I lean more towards the boxier design to SUVs. I appreciate the distinction that Lucid is offering with its design. My question for you is, what's the best looking in the 3-row all-electric SUV space? Oh, look at that. It's an Air right there. You can see the family resemblance quite well. Opening up, the first thing I have to point out is that I am amazed. These doors open completely 90 degrees. Not almost 90, actually 90 degrees. And for a guy with kids in car seats, that is so convenient. Looking inside, there are 4 different interior themes. This is the Tahoe theme with Nappa Leather. There's one other with Nappa Leather and 2 with leatherette. It's got a caramel color to it, contrasts very nicely with the Aurora Green. And this Gravity is offered as a 5-seater or a 7-seater, and this one has the optional rear seats equipped. To get to those, hit this button on the side, and then after making a fair bit of noise and taking a few seconds, the seats do move out of the way, and the access point to the back is excellent. I'm already appreciating the ingress of this Gravity compared to the Air, where it felt so squished in. This is awesome. And to get the seats back, I can just hit that button. See what I mean about the noise? I don't know if that's pre-production stuff, but that's a little loud. While I am sitting back here, after I pull the seats back, I can point out, oh my gosh, I've got so much room. My head clears the glass roof, which I'm just amazed it extends all the way back here. I feel like I've got so much of the light being brought inside. My knees fit with inches behind those seats. I've got a leather armrest. I've got a big cup holder / slot here for something to store with 2 USB-C ports, 1 on either side, and air vents up high. All right, let's check out the second row next. Those seats were really comfortable too, not just the space, but the padding and the shape of the chair. Leather in 2 tones here on the door, open pore wood trim, brushed metal, power one-touch windows with deploying sunshades. The trigger style door pulls are so cool. This is injection molding down here. I like the fabric trim just to mix it up. And stepping in, don't have to duck my head all that much. And behind my own seats at 6 feet tall, I've got knee room here. Instead of map pockets, they do give you the option of these trays that set up and give you some slots where you can have an iPad or some other tablet set up for your kiddos. As far as headroom, I've got plenty of that above, and everything that isn't glass is wrapped in this microfiber suede. Even the seat back here with this pattern is in suede. This is all leather. The foot pockets are nice and large to slide my feet under. I've got thigh support here, and the floor feels really low. I remember from the air feeling like my knees were pitched up. That wouldn't be comfortable on a long trip, but this is so relaxed. How they managed to put the battery packs in places that wouldn't impact that is amazing. And here is a center screen with rear seat heating. That is an option for the outboard seats, and 2 zones of additional climate control with vents right here and vents on the side. If I didn't have a person in the middle seat, then there is an armrest that comes down, lots of leather padding and 2 cup holders. If I did want to try to put an adult in the middle, without a drive shaft hump, I could actually fit, and I could have 2 other adults around me. Man, second row is great too. Let's check out the front. This test vehicle does have the optional soft close, but there was a little rattle to it before it actually soft closed the door. So I want to try without soft close to listen to the thud. Oh, a lot of vibration there. Doesn't speak of build quality necessarily, but again, pre-production, could blame that. There are 2 tones of leather here, just like the back, more open pore wood trim. This is still injection molding, that is fabric. Before I hop into the driver's seat, let me show you the frunk, which is quite spacious. We've got some B-roll footage of boxes loaded here into the front. There's no deeper cubby, but you can equip a lounge seat setup. I can't remember what they're calling it, but yeah, you can use the front trunk for a place to sit and relax. AC outlet here is equipped. And let's go over to the trunk now. And the way they do utility in the Gravity is seriously impressive. So first of all, with that air suspension system, the access height to load things in is incredible. For people who have to put in strollers and things of that nature, you don't have to pick it up all that much. And for storing things in this trunk, there is this massive cubby, which when you lift up past this point, will hold its position with these 2 tabs. When I fold down the third row seats, which you do so manually, that second row folds power with these 2 controls here. This doesn't look like it would be a flat floor, but as I will show you with some B-roll, they could make this a flat floor, and you can put an air mattress back here and sleep. The way you'd actually do that is by removing this panel and then pulling these seats down into the floor. There we go. Just like a minivan. Got the seats back up here. There is another AC outlet off to the side there and a power close button on the trunk lid. Frameless windows, just thought I'd point that out, and 2 panes of glass. This one also has the acoustic laminate as an option for that glass to cut down on noise inside the cabin. I'm gonna move this seat back here, close up that door with soft close. Very convenient. Hey, cabin crew. All right, looking at this steering wheel, the new Squircle design, they call it. A squared off circle, if you will, that does have new touch controls on the wheel to operate things on the infotainment screen and on the upper display. This is 34 inches of screen real estate, and it's operating the new UX 3.0 system. So it's quicker, it's got better graphics, and it's more user-friendly. So it's got this drop-down screen with all your key functions, including the glove box, and if you want to adjust the steering wheel position or the door mirrors, you can find that easily enough. You can change up your theme to the color palette, and then you can access things like your climate control system here. I like that they have a blend of touch and physical controls. So this dial can adjust your volume, and then you can pull up your seat heating and ventilation settings right there. These seats are heated, ventilated, and massaging as an option, and 18-way power adjustable. Looking at this wheel, actually beyond the wheel, I like that it doesn't interrupt my view of the display, but also just the feel of light and space is tremendous with the windshield that goes all the way back to here above my head. It is bisected by the sun visors, and that does interrupt the flow, but these at least do move and slide, so I can't get too mad at those. There's no digital rear view mirror, which I think is kind of bizarre. Should be so in an SUV, especially when you got stuff loaded up in the back. You're going to want to see right through that. And I'm really missing that here in the Gravity because the visibility is compromised by that giant D-pillar back there. You're thankful for blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic. We're turning attention to the center stack and console, mixed materials, and none of those are gloss black. Hats off to you, Lucid. They have open pore wood, you've got that fabric, and then leather up top. If I open this up, I've got 2 USB-C ports here, and there are a lot of different orientations to this center console. I slide this forward, and then I can move this entire piece, which does have the cup holders and a wireless charging pad, all the way forward, and then there's just a giant cavity for you to store big bottles. That's what I would do. And I really just am impressed by the look and feel and material quality in this cabin, and for $125,000 as tested, I should be impressed. Now we got to see how the Gravity drives. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this first drive in the Lucid Gravity. I'm joined by Cohen back here. He is from the Netherlands. He's going to be my drive partner, and he's going to enjoy the second row. He's quite tall, so he's telling me he has space. I think that's a good sign. So the vehicle's already on. I'm going to throw on my seatbelt here and begin in the smooth drive mode. All right, I'm going to pull the gear selector down into drive, and we are going to roll on forward. The Gravity right now only offered in Grand Touring, guys. It has a dual motor setup and therefore all-wheel drive, new battery, thank you, new drive unit, new thermal management system, and new charging setup. That's the turn signal sound, by the way. Very soft. I like it. And in this smooth drive mode, the throttle response is a little more reserved, but with 828 horsepower and 909 pound-feet of torque, there's no shortage of grunt. And the first thing I am noticing is just how quiet it is inside this cabin. We're doing 70, and I get wind noise, but the passing traffic on the opposite side of the road is very muffled. And the ride is so smooth. So this vehicle has the optional dynamic handling package, so it has a 3-chamber air suspension. You do get an air suspension as standard with Bilstein adaptive dampers. And how they've tuned this, the composure on the road is terrific. Even on 22-inch front, 23-inch rear wheels, it is just soaking up the blemishes and not delivering them in through to my seat. Very easy to steer this vehicle, actually a decent bit of feel. This is a Bosch steering system, and Bosch is the same unit used by Porsche and the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, a car I owned and loved. So it's fitting that I enjoy this steering. It's got some strong regen braking going. They increased that for the Gravity compared to the Air, so up to 250 kilowatts of regen. All right, I'm gonna move to Swift because we are joining the highway. Okay, yes. Plenty of momentum. And making my way over to the left lane. The mid-range is profoundly powerful. The G-force is so much fun. And the seats are really comfortable as well, so I'm just getting squished back into these chairs and enjoying them even more. And I've just turned on the driving assistance system. So this is adaptive cruise control and steering assistance. They will have full hands-free highway driving. I don't think it's available quite yet. I'm just taking my hands off to demonstrate how it perfectly stays within the center of the lane. Now it wants my hands back on. So yeah, the full kind of GM Super Cruise rivaling highway driving is coming, but I mean, what I've seen so far is quite promising. And of course, with this going, I'm not using the accelerator or brake to speed up or slow down, but if I took back over, then I would want to adjust the regen braking setting. And with that off now, when I take my foot off the accelerator, this is a slight uphill, so not a perfect test of this. But the slowing that happens is minimal, and I found the high to be a true one-pedal drive. As I'm exiting the highway here, when I indicate, it shows me a blind spot camera, which I'm very grateful for because I already pointed out there is a significant blind spot at the D-pillar, where Cohen's head happens to be just in front of right now. So it's useful to have that view. It allows me to keep my eyes forward, not even needing to look over to the door mirrors. And this is a more chewed up section of road, and still the ride is excellent. And yet, I have sensitivity through the wheel of the texture of that road surface. I didn't yet mention total range. So the Lucid Gravity in Grand Touring, guys, is going to be rated at 450 miles according to the EPA. Right now we've got 86% charge left in the battery. The vehicle's dynamic range is saying just 230 miles, but that doesn't seem accurate based on those EPA ratings for 86% charge. I am going to reduce that estimated range even further though with a real world 0 to 60 test. All right, I'm gonna try this out. Going into sprint drive mode, I've got my race box set up on the door mirror because whatever's going on inside the car is blocking my signal. Okay, foot on the brake, throttle, launch mode activated, release brake. Yo! And there is 60 in. I've got to pause to find out how quick. That's 3.47 seconds, exactly what they say, and plenty quick. Whee! These roads, the scenery in Los Olivos has been absolutely beautiful. I'm just gonna have to appreciate it in a bit of a blur because I want to go quickly. I'm in the Swift drive mode again with the regen braking set to high, just because from a dynamic perspective, having the vehicle slow for you before you have to dig into the Brembo brakes, 6 piston up front, 4 piston at the rear, is a great asset when a vehicle weighs about 6,000 pounds like this one. Weighs a little less if you get the 2-row option, the 5-seater, but we've got the 7-seater, and for this tighter curve, when I did need to use the brake, the handoff between friction and regen is natural. I'm gonna move from the Swift to the Sprint mode just to see how much that changed. I mean, accelerator sensitivity is already just very perky now. Yeah, you just have to lean your foot against it and it's raring to go. Resistance through the steering has been buttoned up as well. The ratio has changed, so it requires very little input to the rack to get a response from those front tires. Very in control of itself. I mean, it takes this wide, heavy vehicle on a tight road like this, and it makes it so approachable. Really feel the torque vectoring system working here. Getting the power to the outside tire and slingshotting us out. And I wasn't sure how much I would like this almost yoke steering wheel, but because I haven't encountered a turn tight enough for me to need to move my hands from the 9 and 3 position with this adjusted ratio, especially in sprint, I really don't mind the setup. It actually makes me feel more locked in. Around town, perhaps that might be a bit awkward, but not quite as awkward as the yoke that you'd find in like the Tesla Model S Plaid. Part of the reason why the weight of the Gravity is so well disguised is the fact that it's so flat through the curves. The adaptive dampers now having firmed up, you do not experience really any significant level of roll through the corners. Now, having all the weight of the battery system down low certainly helps, but the suspension is doing its job as well. You tuck in and just stay very planted, and the rear wheel steering system is contributing in its own way, helping the back end align with the front. It cannot be overemphasized how useful regenerative braking is from a dynamic perspective. Just the ability to cut tens of miles per hour off your pace immediately upon pulling your foot off the accelerator gives you so much more room to brake a little later. And I mean, the cojones on Lucid to go, hey, we're gonna put a just under 6,000 pound SUV onto a road like this to show media what it can do. It wasn't a bluff. This vehicle really can't handle it. The undulations, the tight curves, it soaks it all up. It's so controllable. Gosh darn it, this is gorgeous. I keep stopping, I keep getting distracted, but this is stunning. And this is not, I'll be honest, very difficult for me as a driver to do this. And because of that, I mean, it's great that anyone can climb behind the wheel and just go rip it through a tight, curvy road like this, but it's not quite as rewarding as, for example, a Porsche Cayenne. Not apples to apples comparison there, but I mean, an internal combustion vehicle, and obviously not having the same dynamic layout as an EV, you have to drive the vehicle with a little more skill. This is just set up from the ground up to be capable, to be confident everywhere. But that confidence doesn't necessarily come from your skill level. It just comes from knowing what it is you're driving. Now, the navigation had me go right to then make a U-turn, but this is a good opportunity to show the turning radius of this Gravity. So with that signal going, we are clear. Turning the wheel. Oh my gosh, that is an insanely tight turning circle. Wow. And one thing I've yet to show, the world famous horn test. What does that sound like in the Gravity? Whew. It sounds irritated, which is what you would be if you're using it. So that's appropriate. Okay, let's take an off-road detour now in the Gravity. We're gonna go into some of the off-road modes and play with the different traction and stability control settings. So John Eric, what do we need to know about the modes that we're gonna go into?
Well, this is our terrain mode, which is an upcoming feature that we'll release for Gravity.
Okay.
It has unique powertrain, steering, suspension, rear steer calibrations all working together.
Okay.
To give the best performance off-road, both in sort of trails as well as rally driving.
I like that one.
We'll start out in full stability control.
Okay.
And this is, just to show when you go into the mode, this is what the default will be in.
Okay.
So you can see how well it turns in, the understeer versus oversteer features, basically, how it responds on throttle.
Okay. And right now, I mean, I'm already noticing I'm actually having to, I said during the road drive, like I didn't have to take my hands off the 9 and 3 position, but you know, I am gonna have to for this portion. So I'm kind of matting the throttle right now, and it's gonna cut power, and it's gonna give me a little understeer. I'm now keeping my foot in the throttle, and it actually still lets me go around as I add more lock. It's just doing so, pushing the nose a little bit. So let's try, I guess.
So we can go to partial mode.
Okay, partial, so.
This is kind of our hero mode.
Okay, you look really good, but you know what, you can keep kind of your foot in it the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just foot still in it, but it's kicking the back end in exactly the way I wanted to, making me look awesome, but honestly not requiring much skill at all. Okay.
And this is off, and this is basically the slip targets are increased.
Secondary
so
agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure?
So this is basically all the stability control for these low speeds is nearly off. We're getting a bit of control to help you turn in still.
Okay.
Together with the rear steer, but we use the brakes as well.
So the brake-based torque vectoring is working still a little bit here.
And you get a lot more.
Yeah, much more angle. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to try to modulate it a little bit here.
Nice.
All right. I mean, you can kind of stay on power still the whole time. A little off throttle, a little on. Nice. Okay, what's next?
Then we do the hill.
Highest I know is 9.3 inches of ground clearance,
So
yeah?
this is like 8.3.
Okay.
I'll have to check that. But
Is there a forward-facing camera that can be pulled up?
We'll manually do it here.
Okay.
For terrain mode, like this will be over here, and we'll have like some side cameras looking at the wheels.
Got it,
actually.
okay.
So
This is where it's developmental stuff. That hasn't been released quite yet,
Yeah.
so I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, so that go straight up, pay attention to the poles, and then look at the camera when you get to the top.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I need the camera here because I can't see anything, but I can follow it on down. And that little bit of regen braking is almost like a hill descent assist there.
Yeah.
I had just pulled my foot off and it slowed us down.
And we can go to the fun part.
The fun part? What have we been doing this whole time? This is the rally stage. He's fixing one cone, and I'm gonna have to learn this course, but it should be good. I think I've learned the course now. I'm really gonna give it a shot. At as much angle as possible. I'm finding myself holding the wheel in what seem like the wrong ways, but it seems to work for the Gravity. Approach in. Oh, I got some good dirt up on this window. Connect this one. And then again.
Nice.
Stay in it, stay in it, stay in it, stay in it, stay in it.
Oh.
Basically, I mean, close. Last lap here, last lap. I got to give it my best shot. This is a lot of fun, as I hope you could tell. Absolutely wild for a vehicle like this to be able to do this. I want a way to fully slide that corner, but I don't think I can.
It's pretty hard.
It's a long corner, so I don't think it's gonna be possible, but oh my gosh.
Nice.
There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Let's go, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I'm satisfied with that. John Eric, thank you so much, dude. That was fun. Let's talk charging. So the Gravity is based on a 1,000-volt architecture, so it can charge at either 500-volt stations like Tesla's supercharger network, or 1,000-volt stations up to 400 kilowatts. The peak that we're seeing in the US are typically 350 kilowatt stations, and if you're hooked up to one of those, you can add back up to 200 miles of range in just 11 minutes, which is significantly quicker than its key competitors. And with 450 total miles of range, if you're on the base 20-inch front, 21-inch rear wheels, this one on the larger wheels does see a range hit. But that total range also being better, EPA rated at least, than its competitors. Only I think the Escalade IQ says it has 460 miles of range, but because it's so heavy, it isn't EPA rated. But I mean, that's a really compelling pairing. Fast charging and a ton of range. It's going to be attractive to shoppers in this segment, though there are a lot of options. At this point in time, I think there are like 6 or 7. You've got the Tesla Model X, you've got the Rivian R1S, the Audi Q8 e-tron, the Cadillac Escalade IQ, the Volvo EX90, and the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. But the specs really seem to favor the Gravity. Pricing, this vehicle starts in Grand Touring guise, which again is the only trim offering right now, at about $95,000, $96,000. There will be a more entry-level touring grade for $81,500, and there may even be a sub-entry level pure trim like there is for the Air, with good range, not as good as the Touring, but a lower starting price. But speaking about what we have right now, this Grand Touring, yeah, it's not the least expensive, and it doesn't make the most power available. You can get over 1,000 horsepower in the R1S quad motor or the Tesla Model X Plaid, but it is really compelling when you look at the way that they've used this power for range, for efficiency, and how it drives. I've loved this driving experience both from a luxury standpoint and performance, and the interior feels thoroughbred. It feels refined in the ways that I think people are looking for if they're spending this kind of money. Exterior styling wise, I still prefer the boxier look, a more traditional SUV look of the R1S, or even the Cadillac Escalade IQ, I guess is a little sharper, a little edgier than this one. I don't think that would be enough for me though to overlook all the competitive advantages of this Gravity. I really strongly consider this one if you're shopping this 3-row luxury EV space. Which would you guys choose though? Of any of the competitors I just mentioned, let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed this first drive, and I will see you again next time. Whee!